Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm hoping you're having a great Wednesday morning here in the, second week of April. So today I want to cover with you maybe a couple topics, but at least for this video, the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game that's going to be coming out sometime in 2023. If my information is correct right now, it's going to be around summertime. But we're not going to talk about the release date. We're going to talk about the role-playing game a little bit more. And I've already done a video covering this, talking briefly about just really the press release about what we know about the mechanic system, what we know about character creation, what type of characters you can use, what part of the multiverse it covers ish, and such. We've already kind of covered all that, but today what I really want to focus on is the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game digital content. And I've got another announcement to make in regards to this. That's what prompted me to do this video. So first, let's take a look at this video for that Nexus and Demiplane have come up with for some future content for the RPG, and then we'll talk about it. Looking good, looking easy to interact with. Ooh, okay. That is definitely some cool looking content right there. And we're actually going to take a look at Demiplane, and I'll have a link in the comments below or the description below so you guys can go there and kind of preemptively create an account in anticipation of this software coming out for desktop and for mobile app. So what this digital content is, just to give you guys an idea, if you're not familiar, D&D Beyond, which is the digital content, Roll-D20 and Foundry are all content providers, or actually I say more like digital toolkits for playing RPGs online and in person, or some weird amalgamation of the two. And you usually have access to like character sheets, maps, even character icons, so you can move around the players and the NPCs. You can keep track of what's going on with the game sessions, pass notes, and communicate with the DM or GM, narrator, whatever you want to call yourself for that particular game. Especially if you don't want your other players knowing that you're passing secret notes, you know, you want to like, oh, I want to pocket that ruby and not let anybody know. And then the GM can, without you passing like a sticky note, and then all of a sudden stuff disappearing, that sort of thing. You'll be able to do that, but from a digital standpoint. And we've been seeing this actually a lot, like at right before I left Houston. One of the probably the best stores for a private rooms, when you look at the cost, right? The cost of using a private room that other stores are doing, the best bang for your buck right now is Board and Brew Games in Humble, Texas. Now, yes, other stores have similar features, but cost-wise, the best one bang for your buck is going to be the Board and Brew Games. So they have digital, you just use them as an example. They have TVs and speakers and fans and all kinds of stuff, but really they have stuff ready for you to hook up your computer and have content available for your other players to look at, for maybe instead of printing off hey, this is what the icon or the artifact looks like, or here's the note. You can pull, instead of printing that stuff off, you can just pull it up, save yourself some money, pull it up on the screen. You can pull up a map, and like especially a battle map, that way players can see where things are. Hey, this is what the creature looks like, so you can help enhance the tabletop game with some virtual content. And it's also great whenever you guys are going to be, say Bob is on a trip but he wants to play the game. Well, he can just FaceTime in, and using this sort of digital content, he's able to not only jump into the game, but actually help interact, and not just kind of be in a vacuum, like, hey, here's just my face on somebody's iPad or iPhone. You'll be able to actually interact via this software. Now, we know that, as I said before, you can play both in-game and online, or some combination with this software, and you can also communicate via video and video chat and such like that. You also have access to all your character information, and you also have access to the rule book. So really cool stuff going on there. We're going to take a look at Demiplane. Like I said, I'll have it down in the description below, so if you want to go ahead and get an account created, it's free. And if you're worried about getting spam, just turn off the notifications, or the little things like, hey, yes or no, I don't want to know about my car's warranty ending anytime soon. So you can go ahead and get figure out how you want to do that. Now, we do have a little bit more information about this RPG since the initial drop of the information. Now, this is going to be geared, as I said, for newer players, those that are new to the RPG, but that does not mean it is strictly for them. Those of us that are well experienced, there's games like Dungeons and Dragons that is geared towards new players, but it has all the content in it for those of us that have been playing for a long time. Now, those that are familiar with the stats or attributes that, like Dungeons and Dragons, use strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma to represent the physical, mental, emotional aspects of a person. They have the same thing for Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, just slightly different. They use I think it's called acrostic, basically, where the initials of all the attributes or the acronym means something also. So the total thing for the attributes is called Marvel, which is might, agility, resilience, vigilance, ego, and logic. These are your attributes or your stats. We're actually going to take a look at a couple character cards here shortly. So what do we know about this RPG that's going to be coming out? A role-playing, or not just the role-playing side as your character and interacting with other characters, but how does the dice system work? Still learning about the dice system for now. Around the 18th, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, I'll have some more information about that, actually in-depth information. So it uses a unique dice system called the D616. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that there's usually when you say D6, D20, D10, that's a dice with that many sides on it. So a D6 has 6 sides. That's a little square dice if you're not familiar. And a D8 has 8 sides for those of you that play Marvel Crisis Protocol, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, or fortunately, there is not a D616, or it has 616 sides. I'm sure somebody out there is going to figure it out, do the math, and they're going to be able to make a digital 616 dice and make a 3D file for it. I bet you will see it sometime within the next 6 to 9 months. At any rate, what it does do is has you have 3 6-siders. That's all you need is 3 6-siders for this game. That's what they're saying. You'll have 2 6-siders of one color. So let's just say, using their example that they had on that digital trailer there, you have 2 white dice, and then you have 1 other dice. This is your Marvel dice, which is, they used a red dice. So 2 dice have to be one color. 1 dice has to be a separate color. Now, when they do put out this, the actual game itself, expect them to have at least 3 dice, maybe 6 dice in there, 2 sets of 3. And those 6-sider, there'll be two 6-siders. That'll be a normal color, normal numbers 1 through 6. And then that red dice is very likely going to have the Marvel symbol for the 1. Now, what we do know is that you are going to roll all these dice together, and we know that if you happen to roll a 1 for some reason, a 1 on the Marvel dice, that's really good. Usually 1s are bad, but in this case, the 1 on the Marvel dice is good. And if you happen to also roll 6 and a 6 on the other dice, so 6, 1, 6, something absolutely fantastic happens. So I imagine that's their version of having a super critical success, and something really good and amazing is going to happen, whether it's in regards to using your skills, a role-playing sort of encounter, or maybe even a combat or defensive combat or offensive combat type of thing had taken place. So you get that D, or you roll that magic 616, and then man, something awesome is going to happen. So other than that, we don't have a lot of information. But let's take a look at some, I don't want to say screenshots. It's not, well, I do have one screenshot, but let's take a look at some of the content that they've made available for us. So we know that the core mechanics is going to center around the players and the narrator. The narrator in this case would be like the dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons, or the like other games use game master or storyteller. The narrator is the one that is setting the stage for the players. He's the one that's describing everything that goes on around and kind of narrating the story. And also they're the ones that are the judges of the actions that take place. Now the players have full control of their characters, and they're the ones that are doing all the hero or villain actions that go on between themselves and the environment that the narrator is setting up. Now, we do know that, like I said before, we're using the, oh, they already got it there. You can see on the right-hand side there, you are going to be getting a Marvel dice that has a red Marvel dice. It's going to have the Marvel symbol on the 1. So now we know what that looks like. So it is going to be happening. So really cool. And artwork looks great. I mean, I expect nothing but the best from them. So let's take a look at Spider-Man. Now he is a rank 10. Now I don't know if polymath, is that a class? Is that his profession? I think it might be his profession. And so this is a look at his character sheet. We're actually going to take a look at another character sheet here in a second. So we get his full bio. Well, not his full bio, but we get his bio, backstory, his origin and profession, which are things that do relate to the characters, and they are part of your character creation. We see what his traits are. Don't know what all the traits do. We can see right down here, before we take a look at his attributes or his stats, we see his powers like jump 1, mighty 1. We're going to take a look a little bit more in depth at that here in just a second, but we get to see all these other a variety of his powers. Now let's take a look actually at his attributes. So kind of cool, kind of confusing, kind of really some old school stuff going on here. I'm not too particularly happy about, but you know, we're going to make do. So there's still a lot we don't know what constitutes as, you know, how do you get your ability scores? How do the modifiers come out? How does all this come into effect? I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of charts and graphs to figure this out. We'll take a look at that in about 5 or 6 days. Yeah, 5 or 6 days. And I'll tell you about that in a second. So he's got health 80, focus 90. I'm guessing focus might be something related to I can use my powers a number of times. And depending on what power I'm using, I use up focus, maybe. I'm not sure, but I feel like that's what that is. Or that might be his mental fortitude or his mental health. Does that make sense? So you might have things that attack the mind of the character, not the physical health. So when you're getting blasted by, say, Cassandra Nova with some sort of psionic attack that does mental damage, maybe it goes off of focus instead of health. Not sure. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, like I said before, we have our attributes: might, agility, resilience, vigilance, ego, logic. I don't I'm not a big fan of this old school system where you have your ability, you have a separate thing for your ability scores, and then their modifiers. I would prefer to start seeing RPGs in the future go, let's just put in the modifiers. But I understand Marvel likes to, at the very least for Marvel, they like to be able to rate their characters. There's even on their own website, at least at one point, I don't know if they still do it anymore, but they used to list all the different power levels, like their intelligence, energy manipulation or speed, stamina, whatever, of all their characters, and be able to rate them like on a scale of like 1 to 10, I think it was. I don't think they do that anymore, but it also helps kind of define them. And I get it. I just would prefer just to see the numbers. And the other thing about the numbers I'm not too happy about are those big numbers. This is like in between Pathfinder, like, hey, I'm plus 80 to attack and plus 62.35 for my armor class, whatever, or Dungeons and Dragons where you're around like plus, I think maximum is like plus 5 or plus 6 for your class. That's your proficiency bonus, and maybe depending on what your attribute is, maybe it's a combination of the two. I'm not too sure, but I don't like big numbers, but I understand that it helps with the variance. So when you're looking at a smaller dice set, so the D6s in this particular case, we don't know how you determine what those dice are. I really feel like the dice are going to be, you subtract the 2 white dice and maybe add 1 or something along that. I'm not sure what's going on with those dice yet, but I would prefer, or when you have those smaller dice numbers or smaller dice sizes, you kind of need to have to get more of a variance in your overall number, especially as your characters improve over time. You need those bigger modifiers. So the smaller the larger the dice, the less modifiers you need, and vice versa. So we see initiative modifier plus 7 with an edge. That's probably, I'm not sure what any of this stuff means. 6, his speed is a 32, which means he can move 6 spaces. It's a weird kind of a calculation. I wish they would really simplify this thing. His climb speed's a 32, jump speed's 32, all 6 spaces. That doesn't even, there's no mathematical thing in there dividing by 5 plus 2. I don't know. I really don't know, guys. And it's like a swing line speed. So when he does his web thing and just goes swinging through the city, it becomes a 64 with 13 spaces. So it looks like one is like with their attributes, one of these numbers is to give them a official rating based on their own system, and then a mechanic system. So the 64 and then the mechanic system, the 13 spaces, it's how they're going to balance. So we still want to have our own way for you guys to rate everything officially, and also have the game mechanic version. Not a big fan of it, but we'll see how this pans out. I'm going to hold judgment until later. Fight damage 3d6 plus 14 plus 5. Wow. Don't know what this means. All I can guess is that I really have no idea, guys. I have no idea how to determine any of this stuff. The 3d6 seems to be standard because since you are using a 3d6 system. The plus 14 looks like it might be coming from his agility. He is probably more of an agility based character than a physical character. I'm not sure what the other plus 5 or plus 7 is. That might be other type of modifiers. I really don't understand it yet. Size, I like that they put the size category in there, because that's going to probably come into effect later on for determining like not only line of sight, but cover and concealment. And then karma is a 5. Now, my guess is karma is like a lot of other games. They have different names for it, but this might be, hey, I've got karma of a 5. That means I've got 5, basically 5 points that I can spend. And once it's gone until somehow I earn it back. And that when I spend it, I can do a variety of things like maybe get re-rolls, or I get bonuses to my dice, or I can maybe like when I'm doing a role playing thing between me and another character and we're talking and I want to get some more extra information, I can spend a karma and maybe dig out a little bit more info because maybe I'm not picking up what the GM or the narrator is putting down. So it's like, oh, I'm not getting it. I'm going to go and spend a karma. Please give me the information, sir. Please, may I have another? So what all these stats mean, I don't know. Let's take a look at another character just so we can maybe get a little bit of a rating here. So we got Captain Marvel here. She is a level or a rank 25 blaster versus Peter Parker, Spider-Man's rank 10 polymath. So she has 275 health and a 382 focus. A big difference. And here we look at, like, Spider-Man has a might of a 5, just like Captain Marvel, but she has a plus 19 modifier versus his plus 12. Spider-Man has an agility of 7, which is plus 14 modifier versus her agility 9, which is plus 28. So my guess is that whatever your origin, your profession, your traits, and your powers are going to be figuring into that total modifier. And once again, I'm not a big fan of these big numbers. I think we should be able to keep it a little bit simpler. She has Karma 13, average size. And looking at those numbers, I've got it on a separate screen. Sorry. It looks like 3d6 plus 27. You know what? Let me go ahead and pull up that on another screen here for myself here, just so we can get this figured out. Yeah, it looks like her fight damage. So this is her close combat is 3d6 plus 67 plus 5. Range damage is 3d6 plus 77 plus 9. Her flight speed is 675 at 175 paces, I think. Normal speed is 35, so 7 spaces. I mean, do you guys see my concern here? Now, like I said, I'm gonna hold judgment until we see it, because this might end up being extremely simple, because they have said that this is very user and new player friendly. So I'm going to put my trust and faith into Marvel and the creators that they've got this on lockdown and that we're not going to have any problems. So here's an example of the powers. Spider powers, and this looks like how the rank system, you have to get this to get this and so on and so forth, and this looks like it's straight out of the app, not from the anything else. So spider powers, jump 1 is you don't get it till rank 5, and then if you want rank 2, you've got to have jump 1, get the skill up to rank 10, so on and so. You guys see how this is going. I really don't know how this layout is. This to me looks like it's from the app that will be coming out through Nexus and Demiplane. I really don't know, because that all looks like clickable stuff versus what's in the paper book or the hardback book. Don't know for sure. We'll see when we get a little closer. In fact, we're going to see in approximately 18 days, or not 18 days, 5 days. So before we go take a look at Demiplane, and so I can wrap this up, I've got a copy of the Playtest book. I don't even have to pay for it. It's on its way to me and the studio. I will actually have it around Monday the 18th or Tuesday the 19th. I'm pretty sure that was the 18th. Yeah, Monday or Tuesday, I will have my copy to give me a good day or two to review it, and then do an honest preview of it. And then I've already got a group set up. We're going to play test it, and we're going to see what it looks like. But yeah, I'm super excited about that, because when I got that bit of information 2 days ago that, hey, we're sending you a playtest copy, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. A, the channel's being sent a playtest copy. B, I don't have to pay for, I don't know why I have 2 fingers up and I'm talking about B, but I don't have to pay for the playtest guide. So if you do want a playtest guide, you can order one. It's around $10, and that's, I think it's $9.99, whether you do digital or a paper copy. In that case, I say just get the paper copy. Save yourself the stress of dealing with the online playtest copy. Now, we know that depending on when that comes out and everything, we know that anybody that has a copy of the playtest rules, all right, whether you bought it, you were handed out to it, there you have the ability to give feedback. So one thing, before we go any further, I want to caution you on is, if you do have the ability to give the feedback, let's say you got your copy like myself, there's a possibility that, and we don't know yet, but that you will only be able to do one feedback. So think about that and be very cautious. So the reason why I say that is that there's likely, since they're saying that the playtesters, people that have the playtest rulebook, are going to be able to do feedback that they're going to take into account, that there's probably some sort of code to get into some sort of forum, or maybe some I suspect an online form to do feedback, and that might be it. So read it, playtest it at least once, please playtest it at least once, and then probably playtest it twice. Give an honest review based on what your guys' experiences. Follow their format, get it sent in, call it a day. Will anything come of it? We don't know. Who knows? They might go, you know what, let's go ahead and we've got a little surprise for everybody that put in feedback, and you're getting a free blah, 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 or, you're going to get a free rule set, you're going to get a special character sheet that nobody else is going to get. You don't know. So just go ahead and buy into it and do the full feedback and be honest about it, because they're going to put the game out no matter what you and I say. So if you put, this is the worst thing possible, you should have just left it alone, they're not going to care. They're still going to do it. But if you give some honest feedback and they're like, oh, this guy's making a very good point here, this girl's got a very good point, let's go ahead and make some adjustments, and boom. Now, we know that this game is coming out in 2023. We don't know when, as I said before. So get the book. It comes out sometime this month, I think around April 20th, 21st, and give it a try. So let's take a look at Demiplane, and this will wrap this up. Oh, for those of you that do play Marvel Crisis Protocol, I've got to talk about Marvel Crisis Protocol. This is a game for you guys, because you got the miniatures. And if you guys are playing Marvel Crisis Protocol, or not playing Marvel Crisis Protocol, but you're going to play this and you want your favorite heroes and villains, at least the ones that are available right now, boom, you got it, right? You got the characters ready to go. You can build the miniatures, you can paint them. And if you don't like those versions, then go to Trident Studios, or my favorite C27 minis and terrain, and 3D print them. Go on to Etsy and 3D print those models. It is that easy. You can have character models, or when it comes to your own personal characters, which you can do in this game, you'll have to figure that one out for yourself. Maybe go on to Hero Forge or Eldritch Foundry and make up your own superhero characters through there. All right, let's take a look at Demiplane. It is free to create a character. I have not joined any sessions, but you guys can see the different games. So here's like a D&D horror themed 5e game. It's available on Discord, tells you how many seats are available. They do have this little profile that you kind of fill out that where your focus on what you like. Do you want a lot of combat? Do you want a lot of role playing? Do you want a lot of gear, that sort of thing? You kind of rate everything, and then it starts finding games for you. Here's one for Mutant Year Zero game. 4 seats are open. This one's looks like it's using the actual Demiplane app itself, for their video app here to play. Edge of the Empire, Star Wars FFG Discord game. So you guys can see that you do have access to these RPGs. Now, there's not a lot on here, but it is just starting. And so we know that right now they've got Pathfinder. We know that Marvel the Multiverse games coming, World of Darkness. So those of you that are big fans of the new Vampire the Masquerade, the 5th edition, and all their new supplements that are coming out, you'll have access to it. And then sometime in 2022, Free League is going to be opening up all their games into it. So there's a lot of cool content coming down the line. Just create an account. It's not going to hurt you guys. So what do you guys think of this? Are you guys excited like I am and a lot of other people are to at least get their hands on at least the playtest version of the RPG and participate? Or are you just like, I don't care about RPGs? Let me know what your concerns are in the comments below. And you guys have yourself a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday afternoon. The weekend's almost here. If you're working to get to the weekend and have it off, you're almost there, guys and gals. If this is the start of your week, well, I hope you had a great weekend and a start to your work week. Anyways, I will chat with you all later. Have a wonderful day.